Hey guys, welcome back to Devin's Dog Days. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am working on another video for my Lakeland Terrier segment, and today I am going to be going over stripping ears. So to start, the products and tools that I really love to use the most for this are going to be my stripping chalk and ear powder. Sometimes I use these interchangeably depending on where I'm working or just kind of whichever one I want to use. Usually I like to use my stripping chalk for areas where I can dip my tool into it and then use it, and I like to use my ear powder where I want to put it onto the coat and then strip it off. Or sometimes I dip my finger in here and put it to where I'm trying to get better grip on the hair to really help remove more at once and also keep my fingers from slipping, which makes it a lot more comfortable for the dogs. I also like to use my little sanitary bath mitts. They are disposable little cleaning wipes that you can use just for any little messes, if you want to clean pads, paws, what have you. These are really great. So I'll use these afterwards to make sure that I don't leave any chalk on her skin, which could dry out her skin. Alrighty, so to get started, we are going to start by working on the inside of the ear. It's just my own personal practice. I like to work on the inside. This tends to be a little bit more sensitive, so sometimes I like to give her a break and then come back to it. And I like to pull all the way to the edge of the ears and pull the edge of the ears clean as I'm doing this. And then I will finish by going over the top of the ear and pulling this down. She's really fuzzy. We're probably not going to have a layer underneath of this, but we're going to see what happens. And if not, by next week she will. Ears, just like flatwork, grow very fast. So 1 to 2 weeks and she will have perfect ears back again. Right, Demis? Okay, let's get started. I'm going to apply some of my ear powder to the inside of the ear. This product is made specifically for helping get a grip when you're plucking the inside of ears to get them clean for sanitary purposes, so it works great for this as well. And I love to start with my little pumice stones. These are amazing and really great for detail work, and they are available for sale on my website directly through Devin's Dog Days. So here we go. Now, you want to pull in the direction that the hair grows or that you want the hair to grow back in. With this being the inside of the ear, I don't stress quite as much about that, especially when I'm just pulling around the ear canal. But once you start going out towards the edges, you really want to be mindful of the direction that you are pulling the coat. Because if you're pulling it in the wrong directions, it's going to grow back in the wrong directions. This stone works so well for getting all of that hair out. One of the best ways that I found to hold the ears is if you can flip it over your fingers like this, and then you'll be able to just go right to town. Pulls it nice and taut, so you're not losing your grip, it's not slipping out of your hands, and you have the ear arched, so the hair is even closer to you to make it even easier to be able to pull. So here's where I will start. I can dip my tool into my powder and just go right to town. And I pull right tight to the edge of the ear. That's how you're going to get that really nice finish. You're going to make sure those ears are pulled nice and tight. You don't want hair hanging over the edges of your ears because that basically could make your ears look even bigger than they are. The way that the ear sets on their head when they're holding them properly, you get a bit more distance between it and you can actually see your arch on the side of your head. And you want to just pull little by little. You don't want to rush it too much. Now, normally when I'm doing this, a lot of times I just let her lay on her side, but since I won't be able to really show you guys as well of what I'm doing here, we're standing for this ear, and she'll get to lay down for her other one. Alright, and so now that I'm getting a bit more closer to the more dense hair, now that I've got all those fine little hairs in the inside of the ear cleaned nicely, I'm going to switch over to my Artero Trio trim. This tool is amazing. It has 3 sides. The tip is the shortest where you can really get your detail work done. The fine side here is really great for your really tight work, flat work, anywhere you want to go really, really nice and neat. Also great for pulling edges around feet, around ears. And then your wide side is for when you're really pulling bulk or you're trying not to go quite as close. So sometimes I like to use this side for the outside of my ear, and I use the shorter, finer side for the inside. Dip my finger into the ear powder and just dab it around the edges where I'm going to be working. And so holding index finger and my middle finger and my thumb underneath of the ear, it gives me a good grip. And again, I can just get right to work. So just pulling out towards the edges of the ears. And because I want my edges tight anyways, I don't worry about pulling too much. You really, in my opinion, can't on the inside or the edges of the ears. And if there is no layer there that is tight to the ear, then that means you just need to restart the growth process. Now, if I was showing, by next weekend, her ears would be absolutely perfect for a show if I bald them completely. And you can see, pulling the edges of the ears, coming right off. A little more powder there. I'll make it come out a bit easier. Make sure I got a really good grip on it. And you can already see the difference from one side of the ear to the other. This side pulled, this side not. So we're already getting a really nice clean edge to that ear, and you can see how much smaller and tighter it's gotten now that we've pulled off all of that fluff. And like I said, this area tends to be a little bit more sensitive, so just make sure you've got chalk and work on it little by little, pulling from the tips out. And it's just coming out like nothing. And now for the bottom of the ear, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did on the outside, dipping my finger into my chalk and rubbing some along the edge of the ears. And for this side now, I've got my 2 fingers on the back of the ear, well, 3 honestly, and I'm using my thumb to help hold it in place. And again, I love this tip because you can come right along and pull some of the edges with the tip of the trio trim. And I love grooming, you know, as long as you make it a positive experience, positive reinforcement, it's a wonderful bonding experience for you and your pet. It breeds trust. It can be a very calming time. You know, Missy normally just naps because she's able to just lay on her side, get comfortable, and doze right off. Started working with her from when she was just a few months old, getting her used to it, getting her used to being on the table, doing her nails, and it made such a huge difference in her relationship with grooming. We're really responsible for setting our dogs up for success when it comes to grooming, and you really want to make sure that you let them know that this is not something to be scared of. This is just a natural part of life, and it's for their health and their benefit. And the better, more positive of an experience you can make that's everything to them. So anyways, and now I'm just gonna pick up my little tool again, and this is gonna help me again, just coming back to this bit of a more sensitive area. It's not so sensitive when she is being pulled regularly, but because I've gone over, it's a little bit more sensitive because the pores are very clogged with hair, and you know, it needs to be removed. So, but when I'm normally on top of her ears, she luckily doesn't grow too crazy. Best rule of thumb, best practice is usually once a week. So when I'm really on my game, I'm doing that, and if I'm not, luckily her coat is very forgiving. All right, so now I've got the inside of the ear pretty good. Again, gonna touch back on it, but I like to keep moving. I don't want to get stuck in one area and get too caught up. So now that I've at least got the insides of the ears pulled really nice, and I can still get this even tighter. There we go. Now I can really see the clean edge of that ear. And that's what you're going for. Good girl. Good girl. There we go. Just using the tip to help pull this area really nice and tight. If I were to leave too much hair here, if you're looking from the front, you can already see how much that affects the width of her head, makes it look over like almost an inch longer than it really is. And it also takes away from really the nice rectangular shape of her head. So definitely want to make sure that I get all of this taken care of, either between when I'm pulling her ears or when I'm pulling the top of her head as well. Alrighty, so I think we've got these edges pretty good. And so we're going to go ahead and move on to the outside of the ear. So for the outside of the ear, I'm going to, again, fold it over my fingers and just use my thumb with gentle pressure just to make sure that I have a good grip on it so it's not slipping. That can be uncomfortable for both the dog and for us and make our work a lot harder. So just dusting a bit of the ear powder over top. And I'm going to be using the wider side to start because there is a lot of hair here. There we go. And now that I've kind of got my starting point, I'm going to flip over to the fine side. It's a lot faster. I'm going very tight on these ears, so it works very well to help pull it down nice and tight. Just needed to get to my starting point and then just go to town. I love stripping ears. It's very easy, and when you kind of get it down to a system, it's just so simple and can be so quick. Usually only takes me about 15 minutes to pull ears on both sides. Good girl. Already coming down so fast. Good girl. Yeah. Good girl. So you can already see now, this is so much fluffier on this side, and now this is pulled really nice and tight. And that's what we want to go for. There we go. And here I like to hold the ear sideways because the hair grows down this way and pull in that direction. Always want to make sure that you know where your blade is in comparison to the skin, and make sure that you don't grab any skin, and you know where the edge of your ear is, because no matter what, when you're working with grooming tools and when you're working with live animals, there is a possibility of injury, and we as groomers and pet owners need to make sure that we do everything that we can to avoid that from happening. When I pull ears as well, I pull the entire back of the ear. If you've ever worked with a Kerry Blue Terrier, or if you watch any of my Kerry Blue Terrier videos, I basically pull my ears just like I would shave my Kerry ears. So I'm following that bulb around and to the back of the jaw. So I'm going to pull all of this just as tight as I did with the ear. Got some longer hairs here. I'm going to be using my pumice stone. And now you can, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll fold this over and put my hand on top. It's above her eye. I'm not closing her eye or anything. I'm just pulling this all really nice and tight. Good girl. Get a little more powder. Always remember to be gentle with yourself and patient with yourself, especially if you're learning how to do this. It takes a long time. I've been hand stripping for, gosh, 7 years now, and I still feel like I learn every single time I pick up my stripping knives or tools or anything. So that's the beauty of it. You got to remember, it's not about the finish line, it's about the journey. So we're not even completely done yet, but this is your ear. And again, just really trying to get it nice and flat over that bend of ear. Not leaving any of this long stuff. I always say, like, this area probably is maybe 1/8 of an inch long. That's the longest I allow this area to get, because you really want it nice and tight. All right, that's looking pretty good. And then I'm just gonna get right along this edge with my trio trim. Making sure that I'm not pinching any skin as I go and being very careful to just pull along the edge of the ear. Good girl. Much better. And now we just got to get this inside area right here. Good girl. Just little by little. It's coming all right out. Good girl. Good girl. Get that nice and clean. Sometimes I'll even come in and pull in reverse on here just to make sure that I get it extra spotless. And then while I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and pull this because it's in the way. And I'm just kneading up over this arch because we just pulled the inside, so now I can see some of these longer hairs sticking up over here. And there is a pulled down ear. So you can see here, we've got it really nice. You can see the difference from how fuzzy this ear was and how much hair is on the inside and the outside. That is my little tutorial on ear pulling and getting those really nice and tight. I hope you guys found this helpful. I'm going to be covering the rest of the groom for the Lakeland Terrier, how I groom them. I'm going to be breaking everything up into flat work, going over this whole area next. Going to be going over shoulders, the rear, jacket, layback of shoulder. I really want to break this up and make it as in-depth as possible. I am an avid lover of the breed, and I just want to encourage everybody, any groomers out there who could possibly offer the service of hand stripping. It's so vital, it's so necessary for the healthy maintenance of these hand strip terriers. So thank you so much for hanging out here. I'm going to finish up by pulling her other ear, and you guys can hang around and watch, but make sure that you like and subscribe and share comments on anything that you might like to learn. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for watching Devon's Dog Days. Bye! that. Just to make sure her skin is nice and clean. And these actually have antibacterial properties to them, so I really like them to just make sure, because we are opening up those pores. So it is good to, you know, cleanse and disinfect the area after you're done. A lot of times these dogs are just fine without it, but I'm a dog mom, and I want to make sure that my baby is beyond cared for. Good girl, you did a good job today. So thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.